This week's episode of Dude Soup is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Protect your online privacy today at expressvpn.com/rttv.
Yeah.
Woo!
Burn those graphics down. One day. Hey.
Howdy.
Welcome to the episode of Dude Soup for the week of May 11th, 2012. My name is Lise Willems. I'm the host this week. We do a rotating host here if you're new to the show. And I'm joined by Adam Kovic,
Yo.
illustrious leader of Funhaus. Adam, I feel like a lot of our audience is either... You and I are very close. We're very good friends.
Yeah.
Longtime friends. A lot of our audience is like, I'm Team Adam. I'm Team Elise. Why do you think that is?
I mean, probably because you're a blood and I'm a crip, and people just feel like they got to pick sides. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you a Benifer or who's that other woman he's dating?
Or Twilight.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Jacob, Edward, I don't know these names, but people just feel like, it's tribal mentality. You got to pick a side. Here's the thing. No matter what side you pick, like the Alien versus Predator franchise, we win or lose.
I do think
I forget what happens.
You and I give off like a lot of strength, each of us, and a lot of energy. And that might be part of it too. Someone who, my other compatriot on the show, I think this person is someone that anyone would choose. You don't have to make a choice when it comes to this person. It's John Smith.
What up?
Hey, John.
John.
How's it going, everyone? Could I offer you some raspberries or blueberries?
Wait.
They are alternating colors. That's impressive.
Okay. They're alternating colors. How did I get them between all my fingers? For the audio listeners, I've done a magic trick where I have berries between every single finger. How'd I do it?
So before the show began, John told us that he would have an impressive trick of a human feat, I believe he called it. And I guess it was sticking the berries between his fingers. I mean, you probably just have a bowl of mashed up berries somewhere on your desk that you jammed your hands into and fished around for some berries.
A magician never reveals his tricks, Elise.
Oh, it shows the bowl.
It's just containers.
Wow. That was impressive. I think you should take that on the road, but don't. Just
not right now.
Yeah, I mean, angry fathers around the world be like, "Get away from my daughter, you son of a bitch,
you berry pervert." I always buy raspberries. I'm a big raspberry fan.
Yeah.
Something I've noticed, raspberry flavoring is a lot more tart than raspberries themselves.
Yeah.
Raspberries are sweet as fuck with a little bit of tartness, whereas raspberry flavoring, it's like, it makes you do that sucker face, that face.
What flavor is the pink Starburst based upon?
Diamonds or something.
I don't know, because it's like, to me, it's the best tasting one, and for me, that's what pink tastes like.
Yeah.
I
hear that.
There are some flavors that don't taste like a correlating food. They taste like a color. They're the personification of that color.
I love me some blue. Unicorn.
I would say blue Gatorade tastes like blue. I can't describe it, but it's blue.
Yeah, it tastes like the abyss.
It's a lot different than the toilet cleaner that I also drink, but which is also blue. But
honestly,
what goes down, stay down.
Toilet cleaner smells good.
I agree with that.
A little too good.
Yeah. Well, we're doing the house cleaning around here, and I got the one with the tube that has a little hook. So you go underneath the toilet and you wrap it around. This is breathtaking dialogue that we're having here today. Sorry. I was just excited because I cleaned toilets before recording this illustrious podcast. That's what I do.
I like huffing toilet cleaner. It makes you feel happy. And it kind of burns your nose. Sorry, that was a joke. No one do that. I was making a joke.
I laughed. It's a good joke. Bleach will set you free.
Usually it doesn't get close enough to my nose for me to really have that experience with it. I direct it at the bowl.
Most toilet experiences, I bend down and I take a big breath in.
Are you guys getting a lot of spiders right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize how many. I think if you don't assert your dominance, the spiders start to arrive in droves.
I wish I was getting spiders.
You have them. You probably do, and they're. I think they're actually great housemates, especially the daddy long legs, the kinkiest of the spider kingdom. I think they don't bite you, right? They just kill flies.
I think if John turned around, he's like, I don't have any spiders, and then he turns around and there's a giant spider on his back like Garfield.
I was gonna say it's the final shot from the movie Enemy, or there's just a giant. I don't want to spoil. Sorry.
Yeah,
you should go see that movie. It's pretty good.
That movie was filmed in. Well, I think it was filmed in Scarborough, which is like outside of Toronto. It's one of the boroughs.
It's got a Canadian vibe to it. Yeah.
It definitely does. It was hard to watch.
What? Oh no, I enjoyed it. I like that movie. That's
good. It's good.
That's Denis Villeneuve.
Villeneuve. For me, it's just tough because like I get that way with any stuff that I recognize as being Canadian because of my innate national shame.
Well, that's what it was like when I saw Battlestar Galactica for the first time. I was like, wow, they're in this. How'd they build this future city? And like, nah, it's Toronto. It kind of looks like if the '90s was the future.
Yeah, it's actually passed to New York.
Oh, really?
That's why I feel like, Toronto always dupes as New York in movies. But then it feels a little less than.
Yeah,
I thought you were saying that it had
right?
passed beyond New York. That now Toronto was cool New York, and New York was being left in the dust.
Oh. Well, if you watch, like, was it Dark Knight Rises? I think they shot in like downtown LA, New York, Chicago, Toronto. Like it's just an amalgamation of every city ever made. Like at one point there's like, I don't know, they're walking by a Hong Kong structure. Like, who cares? It was just Chris Nolan wanting to go on vacation.
People may not know this, but for this podcast, it's not always willy-nilly fly on the seat of our pants. Usually whoever's producing for that week, couple days before, we'll choose the cast for the episode, and that can be a little bit dicey because if there's news breaking, you want to make sure that you have a cast that can speak to that topical relevant news. I really lucked out today because I had in advance asked Adam and John to do the podcast, and then of course today Jeff Keighley kicked off his Summer Game Fest, or as I want to say, kick flipped off his Summer Game Fest with a big unveiling of the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake. Not really. I think it's a remake. I think we call it a remake. It's not really a remaster. It's a newly built version of these two games.
Don't call it a remake comeback. That's a quote.
That's how Jeff opened the interview.
With about that much quote. Excitement level.
Yeah. Some background on this. Jeff Keighley, who you know from the Game Awards, Game Trailers, GTTV, he is doing a 4-month Summer Game Fest event where periodically over these 4 months, he's going to be dropping game releases, interviewing devs, celebrating games. And I think if you'll remember, prior to the COVID crisis, Jeff had backed out of E3. He was like, I'm not doing E3. He usually would host the gaming Coliseum. He's like, I'm not doing that this year. And so everyone was kind of like, what does Jeff have in store? And I would have really liked to have known what he did have in store, because I'm sure this is a pivot to some extent due to the circumstances. Yeah. But he's kind of, I think he's also sort of doing this fairly independently. Like he made a tweet, I believe, just saying that he's kind of like the editor, the producer, like he's sort of doing this all part and parcel himself, which is pretty cool.
Oh wow.
And of course, like we could go through all the different developers, publishers that are doing their own events, even in Greg Miller, our friend at Kind of Funny, he's like hosting a big event that's going to be happening and stuff. So they're all turning to digital in this time.
Yeah, but Microsoft just did their thing last week.
Microsoft just did theirs. We didn't have time Sony has one. Yes, yeah. I think Sony has on this episode will come out the day Sony does. They just announced today, I think, that they're doing something Thursday. We're filming this on Tuesday the 12th. So Jeff is doing another Summer Game Fest thing tomorrow on Wednesday. But today they announced he sat down with Tony Hawk himself and then Jen.
Sorry, it was like he was on the podcast with us.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk himself and then Jen.
Everyone
he like brought him in. Jen from Vicarious Visions. Vicarious Visions is the developer. They did the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, and they did a bunch of the handheld Tony Hawk ports. So they are doing this remake that's coming to PS4 and PC on Epic on September 4th. It's going to be 4K, 60 frames per second. And it's
wow.
A few new features and stuff. I can break it down for you guys because they kind of go through it in the video. Yeah, but before we get to that, maybe I should, because that way we can get sort of your initial like reactions to this.
Take it all the way back, Elise. Who's Jeff Keighley?
Well, at the age of 15, Jeff attended E3 for the first time. Jeff is a staple of the industry.
No, I know. We have
we all love Jeff.
I know you have a long-term working relationship. We have more of a recent working relationship with him, in the sense that we've been judges for the Game Awards for the past couple of years, and then he's been on our podcast. He's a gent. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
He cares about the video games and the kids, and not in that order.
Jeff and I have been in an intimate relationship for a long time now.
He denies
Has
it.
he seen the berries between your fingers?
That's how I brought him. That's how I impressed him. I said, "Hey, can I offer you a raspberry?"
It's been between my fingers for 3 hours.
And he said, "Get away from my daughter, you son of a bitch." He doesn't have a kid.
Well, here's some deets. I hate that word. On the 2 remakes that are going to be coming. As I said, it's coming from Vicarious Visions. It's coming out at 4K, 60 frames per second. So this is next gen that we're getting. It's going to get some later additions to the series, like the revert feature, which is where you could do like vertical, sequences, like in air. You would do combos and stuff. That was added in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. It's going to feature online and local multiplayer, which local obviously is a little bit useless, futile in our current state if you're not living with people. But and it's going to have a creator mode, so you're going to be able to create your own parks and levels and post them online, and you'll be able to create a skater using different, diverse features and characteristics. The thing that they sort of touted in this video was the creating a park and being able to modify different pieces. So like you can take a ramp and you can kind of like twist it. You could like build a ramp up to the sky if you want. You can take rails and you can kind of twist them to make a roller coaster. So it seems like it's going to be definitely like the first Tony Hawk game came out in 1999. And, what were the popular musics on the tracks, the soundtrack at the time?
Oh, man.
Guerrilla Radio!
It was what, Goldfinger, and was it Rage Against the Machine was in the second one? Man.
Power Man 5000.
Hell yeah. You can play as Armored Spider-Man.
So a lot's changed, but the music will stay the same.
The dead
That's
Kennedys
what I was curious about.
May be retired, but their music lives on in Tony Hawk. Actually, maybe the dead Kennedys are still playing. I have no idea.
Controllers have changed since this game first came out.
There's way more buttons.
That's true.
Analog sticks.
Also,
touchpads.
I'm sorry. You continue.
Oh no, what were you gonna say, John?
I was gonna say that I don't remember if it was in Tony Hawk 2, but one of the Tony Hawks I played had a level creator, and I remember doing that and not being able to share it with anyone. So it's pretty interesting that the level creator is going to come back in a modern world where we have Super Mario Maker, things like that, where I'm very excited just to see the kind of levels that people make. It's probably going to be nuts.
You would have had to have made your level, then gone outside, done an ollie so you would fall and hit your head, get amnesia, and then go back inside and play your level for the first time.
Oh, wow.
We all did it,
Everyone,
wood pushers.
Adam, you had a private audience with Mr. Hawk earlier. Was it earlier this year or last year?
It was last year. We went to the YouTube Gamer Summit thing or whatever it was. It was usually the stuff Bruce would go to, but it was right around the time he was departing our little channel, and
departed.
It was basically like, hey, you're doing this now. I was like, oh crap. Yeah. I'm not used to these events where I have to network and talk to people. And our YouTube rep hit me up and said, hey, super keep this to yourself, you know, super secret NDA thing. Do you want to interview Tony Hawk? And I was like, for what, a job? Like, what are we doing here? And she was like, well, out of everyone here, like, I think you've done this sort of stuff before. So like, I think you'd be a good call for this. So like kind of more on the mature level. She called me old. I'm older. Yeah. You know,
I thought she was like, I've seen you wear soaps. You want to talk to?
I have a funny soap story related to Tony Hawk. I'll tell you after this. But yeah, basically they were just saying like, hey, we expect you to be professional and this sort of stuff, and we think you'd be a good fit for this. So we did a phone call and we just sort of talked about it, and like it was kind of weird because it was like on one side it's Tony's people, and then on the other side it's YouTube's people, and they go, all right, kids, have fun, but everyone's listening in on you having a phone call.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, hi, Mr. Hawk. I like, I don't, let's talk about stuff. But yeah, I just basically did the thing where I'm like, yeah, I think there's a parallel between online content creators and what you did for skateboarding. It's obviously not the same thing, but you did something when no one else was really doing it, and you pioneered an entire industry around it. And it's a lot of it is making a career out of your hobby. And I think after we kind of had that discussion, we clicked and it made sense. And then I also said Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 was the best one, and he agreed. So that was good. We kind of nerded out on that level. But then, yeah, we only met like briefly in Palm Springs when we did the thing. And then he mostly talked. Like I had a few questions. YouTube gave me a couple things to say, but like I basically just sat up on stage and he just talked the whole time. And it was just like, he's a really well-spoken, refreshing individual. Like he has a great personal story and everything that he's done. And the fact that he's still doing it, and he was like skateboarding right before he came to the event. He found like a little skate park in Palm Springs and was just hanging out, and some kid was there and didn't even know who he was. And I was like, that's pretty funny. So
that's cool. When you did this thing, was there like any indication of like, there might be some news with Pro Skater?
He kind of hinted at something. My assumption was he was working on a completely new franchise. I didn't know they were doing a remake. But yeah, I think someone from Stadia or something was like, hey, we should totally talk. And he's like, I can't really right now because of things that are in flux. And I'm like, that's code for you're working on a video game. Hey, yeah. I got that. Obviously couldn't say anything back then, nor would I. Wires. But yeah, I didn't know it was going to be so soon. I was expecting this to be like a year from now, from like nowish, but pretty cool that they're still working with the franchise, and it's not that really crappy remake that they did a little while ago. I don't know if you guys played that one, but it was garbage.
It was 2012, and yeah, I think it got pretty lackluster response across the board.
Yeah.
Something that I didn't know, because I grew up in it, was that before the success, I heard this is something they kind of cover in the documentary that came out recently. Well, I guess it's not out. It was made recently, and it just recently got publishing rights. Someone got them, and so it will be coming out soon. But it's a documentary about Tony Hawk and about the success of the video games. Skateboarding was like kind of a fringe culture type thing, or I mean, it wasn't very popular until the Tony Hawk games blew up, and then because everyone in my generation at least owned a skateboard at some point.
You're from Southern California,
tried riding skateboards. Yeah, in California, and
which
so
I feel like it's a whole other thing too.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that. I mean, video games, even back then, had such a large impact on society and culture, at least for kids, in like a big way, and changed probably a lot of people, even though they're, in their 30s now, are still skating because of Tony Hawk.
It might be a geographical thing, or it might be because I was from a very uncool part of town. But I, as a 34-year-old now, I look back on my childhood, and I really didn't know many kids that had skateboards.
Really? Maybe it was a California thing.
I mean,
we're cool.
It was Canada, so everyone had 5 pairs of skates, like inline skates or ice skates and stuff. But I
feel like kids always skateboarded when I was growing up, but it wasn't until like Tony Hawk came out when I was in like middle school, high school, when it started to like really blow up. And that was around the time, like it was this perfect storm of the skate culture and the acceptance of skateboarding had become hit an all-time high. Like I said, listening to Tony Hawk talk about it from his perspective and, doing this stuff back in the 70s and 80s when he was like made fun of for doing it and was just called like horrific names and just stuck with it. And then like got to a point where he got to like skateboard at the White House. And like, that's a pretty awesome story. But it is weird to think that, a long time ago, it wasn't cool to skateboard. And now it's the coolest thing you can do next to doing drugs.
Random anecdote. Tony Hawk is from San Diego, where I'm from. And I guess this guy from my church had kids that were into skating, and he was like a carpenter. And so he built a half pipe in his backyard for his kids. And this is back when Tony Hawk was like really young. And Tony Hawk would come over to his house and like skate on his little half pipe. But he was like 13 or something. I learned that, when I was
helped Tony Hawk practice skating, essentially.
Yeah, that guy, Mr. Hayden, is responsible for Tony Hawk's career.
He should be on this podcast, not you, John. Well, we're going to talk more about our expectations for these remakes, but first, a word from our sponsor, Honey. Let's talk saving money for a second. You know that Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your cart. And you know how great it feels to save, but how does it feel to save with Honey? Saving with Honey feels like buying a ton of turnips in Animal Crossing at 80 bells per, and then selling them at 5 times that for a profit. And I know you know what I mean, because I know you're in it too. Shopping with Honey has helped me feel less guilty about spending, since I save money on the things that I buy for myself. Things that I don't need, but are just kind of treats, like clothes and shoes. I feel relieved to know that if I'm going to spend, at least I'm getting a deal doing it, which is really nice and results in a lot more treat myself days for your old pal, Wheezy. You may not know this, but Honey supports over 30,000 stores online, including Macy's, Target, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. I shop at all of those, and they're adding more stores every day. Using Honey feels pretty great. You can think of it as a little daily victory, something special for you. Plus, it's free to use and installs in just a few seconds. No joke. You can get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/dude. That's joinhoney.com/dude. And save with me. Thank you, Honey. And we're back. Where's your hype meter at with this? Like, is this day one purchase for you guys?
I think, it's going to be a fun, nostalgic, I'm curious to see what it's going to look like months from now when people make some really crazy skate ramps and stuff. I've never been crazy good at Tony Hawk. I've enjoyed it passively. And I think the series peaked for me at 3. And then it's hard to keep up with the yearly releases, but it's been a while since I played Tony Hawk games, so I'm stoked.
The last one that kind of is etched in my memory is Tony Hawk Ride, where it came with the sensory board, which was that was a misstep.
That was a weird E3 where right before that, I always remember this. They showed the product demo for the Kinect, which was at the time called Project Natal, and in it, they show a kid bring a skateboard into the living room and he scans it. And then he's like skateboarding in the living room. And then right after that, Tony Hawk walks out with a stupid fucking toy skateboard and goes, "This is the future." And it's like, but you just said it's not. You're going to, that 12-year-old model said you can just scan it. I don't get it. And then, that thing was dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for it. But also probably every year or so, I bought a while back, I bought a USB N64 controller, and I'll just boot up, old games that I owned. And Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 specifically is something that, I've revisited many, many times and just blasted through. So I'm very excited for this remake because I can actually play it at 60 frames and not in like a 320 by 240 resolution.
Yeah, you're like, come on, slam a jamma, and it's just the slowest thing in the world.
Knowing like how your own feelings toward it then, which is pretty much like a nostalgia buy for you. Do you, John, feel like this is going to be an entry point for a whole new generation of gamers? Maybe because of the creative mode.
Yeah. I'm curious if another, depending on how big it is, because also back then there weren't as many video games. And so when something like this came out, especially this was one of the first games of its kind, I feel like, or at least one of the first ones that really did it right, it blew up. Whereas now, even though it's going to be a nostalgia thing, there's so many games, like the whole Skate series, like, people have kind of credited as like one of the best skate games. So I don't know if it's going to be as big of an impact for younger kids now because there are so many options compared to back then. But
there were so many Tony Hawk games too. They sort of overflooded the market with those games. I was like, it needed a break, right? Like, in order, and then go back to the ones people remember fondly, but having sort of the mechanics of the ones that I guess people I don't know what the Tony Hawk community, if there is one, says, but from my understanding, a lot of people really enjoyed it. Like 3 was sort of like when it peaked, like mechanically, but I'm sure there's more nuance and more complicated tricks out there that I know nothing. Maybe Project 8 was when I got the best. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know the depth of this project yet in this game, but it would be marvelous if this is a really impressive creator mode, and maybe instead of doing GTA, we're doing Tony Hawk maps every week.
Could be
cool. And
I thought that was going to be the case with Fallout or with Far Cry 5, but
yeah.
But I definitely could see it happening.
Do you want to hear my soap shoes Tony Hawk story?
Yeah, we've been waiting. John and I have just been filling the space well, from when you first mentioned it.
First of all, the thing that solidified him as being one of the coolest people in the world was when I told him, I was like, well, in high school, I rollerbladed and I was a loser and I'm sorry. And his reply was, dude, that's awesome. Like, I think it's just awesome that people are like out there doing stuff. Like, man, that's really cool you did that. And I was like, where were you when I was growing up, man? Like, I needed this positivity instead of all the people.
Do you think that he thought you were like 22? And he was like, yeah, little guy, you keep going.
I'll sign your goosebump. No. But then I was talking to him about like, oh yeah, I remember like I saved up for some soap shoes back in the day. And he's like, oh, check this out. And he pulled out his phone and he was showing me this clip from he has like a Tony Hawk Ride channel, his YouTube channel that I think he did with like in conjunction with YouTube. They paid a bunch of money into it or whatever. But like there's this one part in the video where he's doing this half pipe trick and then he just slides across the rail because he's wearing one soap shoe. And yeah, and there was enough people who the soap shoes came and went. For those who don't know, it was a short-lived thing. If you ever played Sonic Adventure 2, you absolutely know what they are. But they're shoes with grind plates on the bottom because, baby, you just need to grind all the time. And they got a lot of sand and crap stuck in there, and they're very expensive, but they're awesome. But yeah, he found like a guy on eBay and bought like the one size 12 or 13 soap shoe he could find. So he could just do this one trick, and then like people in the comments were flipping out because like, how did he magically slide with his shoe? I was like, that's pretty. And he was like, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anyone do anything like this. I don't know why I didn't catch on. I'm like, because soaps were made fun of, I think. But I had a pair. Thanks, Tony. No,
there's that one guy who's like, he's the only soap shoe pro skater or like that he's still doing stuff. Like awesome. He has a YouTube channel and like
I want to watch.
He still goes out and skates.
A soapist.
A soapist? Oh,
I don't know if that's the right terminology. I don't know what they call themselves.
Oh, well. Anyway, yes, super excited. Tony Hawk and soap shoes are coming back, baby.
So yeah, I think we're gonna see how this creator mode pans out. But for the time being, everyone's waiting with bated excitement, I think.
Oh, sorry, I just saw in this Dude Soup doc you put together, Vicarious Visions developed all the Game Boy Advance and Nintendo DS titles for Tony Hawk Pro Skater. That's something that it seems like they'd be wonky, but the GBA version of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 is like really good. It's isometric and it's really fun. So
does that steal your confidence in them?
I think the fact that they were able to translate it to a medium where it doesn't seem like it should work is encouraging.
That's cool.
That was so long ago. How many people do you think who worked on that Game Boy Advance version are now working on this remake? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to shit on you, John. True. I didn't mean to do that. I'm just saying, there's one guy who's 57. He's like I'm coming out of retirement to
but I mean, whoever
once again,
maybe whoever worked on those games are now kind of in a more managerial position at Vicarious Visions and probably can put together a good team.
That's a good point. They brought their hands-on experience and now they're looking at it at a top-down level.
Yeah. Just like the Game Boy Advance top-down.
Oh, the asymmetric top-down view.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny that you transitioned it to that point because I was going to try to transition it to our next story.
Oh.
But which was sometimes the top-down is not effective. And I'm of course referring to the top-down partnership of Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman, who created and launched the streaming service Quibi, which is really struggling right now. That wasn't a great transition.
I was going to ask, when does that come out?
Quibi?
Yeah, Quibi.
Yeah.
It's out, my friend. I believe it is. It went live on April 6th.
What?
Yes. And there's a whole bag full of problems around Quibi. And I'll kind of delve into them quickly for you guys so I'm not just talking at you. Because I also really didn't. Quibi is one of those words, we use it now as a punchline, right? And it's sort of like floating around in the zeitgeist of this Quibi thing, this platform that we've heard about, that it's going to be revolutionary, but no one's, I know, is using it, and I'm not. It was a 1.8 billion investment that, Katzenberg, you've heard of him before. He's former Disney DreamWorks, and then Meg Whitman, who was at the top of the Hewlett Packard ladder. They teamed up to launch it, and they had all these investors like Alibaba. It was supposed to be this big, media source that was marketed for the kind of fast-paced, time deficit 2020 user consumer. Like, it was supposed to be that you could get entertainment and news in 5 to 10 minute chunks, and you would watch it on the go. If you're too busy to sit down and watch TV or a movie, you would be able to just have it on the go with you. The problem became that no one is on the go. It launched precisely at the time that people became quarantined and that everyone's movement and mobility became hindered. So it launched April 6th. It fell out of the most downloaded free iPhone apps within a week, the top 50. It's currently ranked 125 in the App Store behind Knock 'em All and Duolingo. This is according to Sensor Tower. It has a 90-day free trial, but even that's failing. And Sensor Tower claims that only 2 million people are currently using Quibi. Quibi says 3.5 million. And so Jeffrey Katzenberg has come out and he's said that, quote, "I attribute everything that has gone wrong to coronavirus." Sure. He said, everything but we own it.
If the pandemic didn't happen, what do you think he would have blamed in that timeline?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it would have been a wild success. The New York Times sort of delved into it recently, and Quibi has been forced to pivot and make some changes to their initial strategy because of the COVID-19 response. The user demand is obviously different. So when it was supposed to be only a smartphone service, now they're backpedaling and some content's going to be available on TVs. Also, they had completely walled the service off from social media, which seems like a really weird strategy in our day and age.
Yeah.
So now you're going to be able to interact with it using social platforms. They're reducing their production on originals, slowing pace just because, I think that's just the trend right now anyway. And their original marketing has sort of been to just push the platform of Quibi itself. I think that's why Quibi has been in the zeitgeist, because we just hear the word Quibi. But now they're focusing on individual content. So instead of just promoting Join Quibi, they're saying, come watch The Return of Reno 911.
Right.
You can watch it on Quibi. Come watch Blackballed and NBA.
That's kind of, man, there are so many playbooks that you can pull from how not to do this. And there is no proven method of how this works, because there's like the Yahoo Originals thing that we all, laugh at. But like they got Community, which already had a following, a dedicated following that would go anywhere. And that wasn't enough to save that platform.
Yeah.
And then you've seen other, like, starting out, then you've seen the Apple TV method, where it's like, we're going to make the best stuff. It's going to have all the actors you've heard of, and it's going to be all behind a paywall, and we're not going to advertise it. And you can only watch it if you have an Apple device, because we're stupid.
Apple Plus.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. Apple's in their walled garden thing, but it's like, there's all these different ways of like, let's make it a club, I guess. I don't know. And not make it easy for people to watch in any way. Now they're just giving it away for a year because they want people to watch it. But like the 10-minute chunk thing is tough too, because it's like, well, who are you competing with? The biggest free platform on the planet, YouTube. And like, unless you have that one thing, that Tiger King or something like that, I don't know if it's going to work. And you still need to build towards those things. Netflix started with licensed content, and it was just sort of like an experiment. Like, let's just see how this works. To coming out of the gate swinging with all this, whatever it is, quality VOD. What do you call it? It's like
premium content.
Premium VOD content. Whatever it is, whatever we hear in these meetings over and over. And then also the name is really bad. I'm just gonna put that out there.
The name. I mean, it's just a weird fucking word. Or sorry, it's a weird word. I mean, I think it almost seems like they went, wow, look at all these successful companies and what they've done to create these these platforms that everybody's using. Let's try doing the opposite in every single regard.
It's strange.
Like,
and John, my question is in that regard, like, do you think that like Jeffrey Katzenberg pointing to coronavirus, but do you think that this would have been successful regardless?
No. I mean, how many people, even commuters, a lot of people are commuting in their cars. So their supposed like demographic is solely people that are using public transport to commute.
With an iPhone.
With an iPhone. And like in like what Adam was saying with competing with YouTube, but also just competing with the like cultural shift of, back when YouTube first came around, if a video was over 2 minutes, most people wouldn't click on it. Like, it was all about creating short little content. If the video was too long, no one wanted to watch it. Whereas now, Bon Appetit, for example, all their videos were around 20 minutes. Now they're putting out 50-minute long videos because people just want more content to consume. And, on like Netflix and stuff, how many people watch one episode of a show and they're like, that's good? No, people are binging. And another point, Brock in Rooster Chat says, most streaming sites remember where you left off anyways. So even if it's an hour-long show, you can watch it in 10-minute chunks, and you're not like, it's not like you gotta go, oh no, gotta start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Can I say on that note, big ups to Brock and every other first member and everybody in chat. You can also join the Rooster Teeth chat right now.
Yeah.
I know. And one other thing.
Go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say one other thing. I heard about, what is it, Most Dangerous Game with Liam Hemsworth, and there's the Sophie Turner show where she's out trapped in the wilderness. It's called something like Wilderness, I think. But I learned about these shows, and I was like, wow, like, I'm very, like, Most Dangerous Game. I love all of the hundreds of adaptations of that show. And then I looked it up. I literally looked up Quibi and was like, all right, I'm going to subscribe to this and watch it. And then I got there and I went, it's only on my phone. I don't own an iPad. I would literally only be able to watch it on my tiny phone. And I was like, well, guess I'm not going to sign up for Quibi. Like,
the only way I would accept Quibi existing as it does, the name and everything, is if it was some kind of British aristocrat named Reginald Quibi, who, he descended from money. And so he decided, because of due to inbreeding, he has a 12-minute memory, short-term memory, and he said, "I'm going to make a platform for me, the Reginald Quibbies of the world." And this is what he meant. He said, "Oh, I say it's going to be Quibi." You know, then I would be like, "Okay."
It's like him trying out new Shetland ponies for the week. I'd watch that.
Yeah, I would. If that was Quibi, I'd be like, "All right, Reginald."
Yeah, it always feels like it's the same story when you see these sort of things, and it's like, it's Jeffrey Katzenberg, the guy who screamed at all those animators until they kicked him out, and he tried to take a dead man's job because he can't read a fucking room. He's a psychopath. He's the guy who made Shrek. You're like, okay, these are all good things, I guess. Meanwhile, Disney Plus and HBO Max, I know we're part of in a very small way, we're connected to this sort of stuff, but those, in my opinion, are the only ways you can even go up against the juggernaut that is Netflix. Is you have to have a catalog that is A, good, and then B, nostalgic in some way, where you go,
and
where
fast.
can I get all? Yeah. Well, I mean, like, man, Disney getting Simpsons is one of the smartest things. And that's probably why HBO Max is getting, I believe, South Park. It's like, you need that thing that you go, oh my God, I love it. I want to watch all of these. Like, we have Batman or we have Iron Man. Like,
you need
Quibi's
your Seinfeld, your Friends, your Simpsons, your South Park.
I mean, Hulu was doing that stuff a little while ago too, with and then Netflix with Friends, and then Seinfeld with Hulu. Like, but those things cost billions of dollars. And when Quibi's entire infrastructure was 1.5 billion, it's a huge number. But in the grand scheme of it, it's not enough for them to be a competitor in this market. And I know it just sound like I've been in too many of these meetings where you hear these things, and like, I don't know. I'm always, once again, this is coming from our weird world, because we're a very microscopic version of all this with RT First, but it's all, everything we do is personality based, and it's a lot smaller, but it's also a lot safer. It's like it's there is a free version, and you can ideally watch it anywhere, and it's also, there's other ways of watching it, and instead of like, no, John, you watch it on your phone or you watch it on your Apple TV Plus, and that's all the only way you can do. People were pointing out, so you can watch Apple TV on like an LG or a Samsung or something like that, but from my perspective as a consumer, I'm used to everything on Apple just only being on Apple. That goes for trying to watch their press conferences where they're like, I'm sorry, you're on a PC, you can't watch this. You're like, okay, I guess I'll do the VLC stream thing, you jerk asses. But it's just, they love their walled garden. Sorry, I don't mean to rip on it.
I mean, like walled garden, for me, it was discovering that it's only on a phone, but at least I didn't know that they were like blocking it all out from social media too. That's just like, how do they think people are going to learn about this except through your paid advertisements that is everywhere? Like,
you're so right, especially when you look at what are the biggest platforms right now. TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, how you could look at that and say, I'm going to lean away from that model is bizarre.
Really?
So, I mean, I guess, yes, coronavirus may be contributing to Quibi's struggling, but I would love to have seen the sliding doors version of this to know what really, the future of this platform would have been.
Where that person goes like, I'm not going to go to the wet market today, and Quibi becomes the biggest platform of all time.
Well, we've got more to talk about, but first, a word from our sponsor, Mint Mobile. And John, our Mint Mobile user in the office.
That's me. Good one, Uncle Bob. Well, let me end this call and do an ad read now. That's right. I've got a Mint Mobile hat on. Why? Because when I got my first cell phone with one of the big wireless providers years ago, I hated my monthly bill since that time. But guess what? I discovered there's another option that could give me the premium service I'm used to at a fraction of the cost. That's right. I could cut my wireless bill down to $15 a month and save hundreds of dollars a year by switching to Mint Mobile. Check my hat. Unless you're an audio listener, I'm telling you, I have a hat on. For anyone out there who's looking to save without sacrificing service, switching to Mint Mobile is a no-brainer. How are they saving all this money Well, guess what? They're online only. They don't have any brick and mortars, any retail stores. So they're not paying rent, and they're passing that savings on to you. Okay? Now, you've heard this before. I've been talking up Mint Mobile for a while now. I have been using it, and guess what? No change in service. Why? Because everybody's sharing the same satellites. They're just charging different prices for it. So guess what? You shouldn't be paying more for the same thing. It doesn't matter which provider you go with. It's going to be about the same. So go with Mint Mobile for just $15 a month. All right. And guess what? You know, you say, okay, John, and you sign up for it and you're not satisfied. You're not 100% satisfied. Mint Mobile has you covered with their 7-day money-back guarantee. That's right. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/dude. That's mintmobile.com/DUDE, dude. All right? Cut your wireless bill down to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/dude. Oh, hey, Uncle Bob. Yeah, the ad read went great. Wow, what an incredible ad read that was.
I agree.
Yeah. Where did you think of that?
It just flows naturally or what?
I felt like I heard a don, and then I looked out, and the words just came to me. And by that, I mean, Elise sent me copy over Slack.
Oh, okay.
But also, I put a little bit of my heart in there myself because I am a Mint Mobile user. This isn't an ad read anymore. Let's move on.
This next section isn't an ad read either. It might seem like that because, full disclosure, Adam and I are connected to this project.
Yeah, but our work is done.
We've severed ties.
We gain nothing from speaking more or less about this. This is purely enthusiast media at this point.
Yeah, we're talking as fans here. Today, on Tuesday, May 12th, Ilphonics CCO Jared Garrettson announced new Predator Hunting Grounds content coming May 26th. As I said, full disclosure, Adam and I provide voices in the game next to our co-star, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's right. We finally did it. I'm finally doing something that isn't standing in line behind someone who met Arnold Schwarzenegger once. It's great.
Behind someone that drop kicked Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, that kid was a jerk.
That guy, the dickhead. Man, I was so pissed watching that.
The best part is he doesn't move. He gets kicked and he's more of like, are you okay? Have you seen this video, John? No?
No. What are you talking about?
Random asshole.
You drop kicked him?
No.
Some young kid in another country, I believe. I'm not sure where. It doesn't matter. But Arnold's at like a fundraising event, and some kid just runs up and jump kicks him in the back. And the human tree that he is unshaken. Like a breeze might as well have flown by. But the dude's 60 something.
He's in his 70s, right?
70. Oh my God. Yeah.
Isn't he? I don't.
Oh, wow.
Just like terrible. But on a more positive note, Arnold's back, and he's in the new Predator game, voicing Dutch. There's going to be like a free update where you can listen to different voice tapes that tell you like the story that has been, he's been in from then and now. There's also DLC that you can buy where you play as Dutch and you get like a cool rifle and knife and stuff. It's just blowing my mind that we're gonna like play this and listen
and
to
hang
ourselves
out with him and like just chat on the phone and be like, "How's it going? What's it like to have Chris
Elise,
Pratt
watch my back." That's my Arnold. I don't know if it was clear.
That was good. That was a good Arnold.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's rad. I mean, I think we sort of knew this was coming for a while, or at least it was like the hope was that it was going to happen. And so like, I'm glad that, because like we were doing voice work for this stuff early on. They told me it was temp. Didn't know I was going to be in the final game. It was these really nice game developers poked their head outside and said, "You there, boy, what day is it?" And I had my little crutch. And they said, talk
And they
into this
thought the crutch was
can
a
and we'll give you
microphone.
$55. And I said, you got it. Let's do that.
That's
cool.
very
pretty
cool.
neat. It's pretty neat.
I still
Again,
haven't. I still haven't played it. I want to check it out.
It is very fun. It's like we have to say disclosure because Adam and I are in it, but we're not getting paid for this.
No.
We don't have to talk about it. It benefits us, and no point to talk about it now. Because clearly you heard the performances. It's not like this is a career boost or anything. But I mean, the game itself is pretty damn fun, and
It's fun.
I think
Yeah. I've been following the online criticisms, and it is sort of weird because I'm like, I have to take myself out of it in a weird way because I'm like, I wasn't involved with the development, but I know those guys, and I know, like Jordan and Garrettson and Chuck and those guys who are like, I've met some of the concept artists,
Name
and the
dropping.
sound guy, and like, no, I mean Jordan, our old friend from the Creatures.
Jordan from the Creatures.
Oh.
Yeah. Like these are people who I've known for a long time. So I'm like, I'm rooting for them. And I'm like, I want you to do well. And I know there are people who are critical of the game, and I know they're still working on it, but they're like, they are an indie team. It's a small group in Seattle. So I'm like, I have fun with it. I've been enjoying it. James sort of described it perfectly, where it's like, when you get in, it's like, it's a 5 to 10 minute game. You're in and out. And like, that's about all the time I have these days to play games. So I'm like, stuff like that and Runeterra are kind of nice when it's like, you can just jump in and out. And
Well, when there's no like barrier to entry of, you can pick it up 3 months from now. And even if you're not leveled up a ton, you're not going to feel like you can't play it with your friends that have been playing it a bit more. Kind of Funny is like way into it. Which we should talk about it on here. We're doing a like week long kind of Funhaus crossover where we're doing like content across both of our channels, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. We've already
I just realized. Oh,
we shot a couple things already. And at least you put out your
Family Feud.
What's that?
We shot Family Feud.
That's right. Feud. It's just called Feud.
Feud.
Yeah, legally.
I just realized I had a friend growing up. This kid Chris.
Congratulations. Oh, sorry. There's more.
He was obsessed.
Sorry.
He was obsessed with Predator and Alien and that whole franchise or crossover or whatever. I mean, this is totally random, but I just realized he's probably so stoked that this game exists. He's probably playing it all the friggin' time.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to go ask
John.
him.
We actually have Chris on the line right now.
Yeah.
Really?
Chris, get out here. He's
Chris, is that
been quarantining
you?
at my apartment for 2 months so that we could bring him out here.
Yeah.
Do you still fly drones for the military?
That wasn't for the military.
I can't throw my voice, so I unfortunately
I thought
cannot.
James was going to do it, or Benson.
No, I don't know where he is. He's probably working in our bedroom because we live in a box.
Yeah, it would have been awesome if, like Omar was back there, just like in his boxers, like, you guys got milk? Why is he there?
But yeah, kind of Funhouse week is going to be. You guys recorded a CS:GO haunted thing with Andy Cortez.
Man, yeah, because we're trying to figure out content that works in our current situation. And James came upon the custom CS:GO maps. Have you played any of these, John, before?
No.
So like,
I've only done pro CS:GO.
Oh, okay, yeah. This is as far from pro CS:GO as you can get. But like we played James found this thing where it's like it's all very like Gothic inspired, except you're running around with tactical gloves on and a knife and an M40. Like M40, is that a gun?
Nice.
M4. Sorry. But yeah, like, man, it's like weird Russian game developer, like modder done in his free time. So it's a lot of jump puzzles.
I is one of them when you load it in, like, did it have custom voices?
It's like text to speech. Yeah. So it's like, what am I doing here?
I know there's one, cause I used to watch Shroud back in the day, and, his like, donation alert was a voice from that thing where it would just go, where the fuck I am.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think the guide said something like, this should only take 15 minutes to complete. I'm pretty sure we have a 2-hour recording from this monstrosity.
Was Andy getting scared?
Andy got a little spooked. Yeah. It's not super scary. But also I don't think it's procedural. So like we would have to keep replaying it because if you all die, you start again. And so there were definite moments where he was like, yeah, it's clear. Let's go. And then we fall into a pit of lava. And I don't know, but I guess we're going to keep trying to do these things. Oh God, they're stressful. So, but yeah, kind of doing those is like, that's going to be like our Monday video for a little while, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Nice.
Until we get back into like the wheelhouse or those types of games. I guess, are we going to do Sin again? Is that happening?
I don't know.
Were we
supposed
to continue that?
I don't know. Going, I don't know.
I know we have a lot of stuff where like we start and then we don't continue, but like the racing of 2 games, like a remake and an original. I want to do one of those again. That was so much fun.
Yeah, that was great. We should. And John, you were a great host for that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got distracted. What?
We're talking about the race? Tony Hawk and his son Rebel or whatever.
Talking about the Final Fantasy VII race that you.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I got nervous because you said that CS:GO is going to be the Monday video, and I'm editing that, and I was like, wait, I have to have it done by Monday. But
it goes up Monday the 25th.
Yeah, a couple Monday, like Monday or 2.
Yeah.
I was going to give you shit for editing during the recording of our podcast, but I did actually update a thumbnail while we were doing this because James made a request that he have a monocle in the thumbnail, and it is now done.
I looked at a picture of Hillary Duff with blue hair. Why? So we're all doing different things during this podcast.
What is the relevancy of Hillary Duff in May of 2020?
She just dyed her. Well, there was supposed to be that Lizzie McGuire, which I had never watched Lizzie McGuire. I don't know, but there was supposed to be a Disney Plus reboot. But then she dyed her hair blue. They just shocking blue, which I think is interesting. It's interesting for the deaf.
I thought it was because I had told you about that Hillary Duff screenplay that I had written in 6th grade about how her and I get locked out of my house and we have to spend a whole night, out on the town.
Did you actually?
I outlined it, yes.
Can you tell us, do you remember what happens?
It didn't go very far. I just remember that I got locked out of my house and I went to my friend Matt's house who lived down the street. Chris was there. And then because of some shenanigans, I got kicked out. And then I run into Hillary Duff and then we ended up gallivanting. This was in 6th grade. Because I also didn't really know what I could do overnight. So that was kind of where I got to the point where I was like, well, we're locked out all night. Oh, and then that was kind of as far as I got. But I remember at one point being like, I wonder if I can find an email for her agent or something.
I'm still rooting for you too. I think it'll work out.
In your treatment, did things get romantic at any point? Was there an implication?
Well, I mean, there probably would have been a kiss near the end.
Did she try and you were like, sorry, I'm just
I was like,
back
sorry,
in my house?
I'm married to God. Because I was at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Well, you do that thing. I'm married to God, but I'm not that married. It just means you're a slut, and that's okay. You're a little man slut, John.
Well, we have a couple things left to talk about in the show, but before we get to our fun little stuff that's left, it's a word from our final sponsor, Warby Parker. Maybe you've seen their store in the mall or their ads online, but you should know about the lens crafting, prescription making, sunglass, contact lens company, Warby Parker. Warby Parker is committed to providing exceptional vision care online and in stores. They offer eyeglasses, sunglasses, eye exams, and contact lenses, as I just mentioned. Glasses start at $95, including prescription lenses. Sunglasses, progressives, and blue light lenses are also available. Those blue light lenses are pretty vital when you're like me, sitting at home, in front of a screen every day. I took the quiz and I ordered a home try-on kit, and I had a pretty great experience doing it. It was really, really easy. The fact that I had a turnaround time to get the frames and check them out meant that I could get the opinions of my friends and loved ones before purchasing. And trust me, they had some pretty, specific opinions about it, okay? It didn't take 20/20 vision to see that maybe I need some new friends. I also need new glasses, which is why Warby Parker is perfect. I love my new frames, and I see very clearly why so many people love Warby Parker. They also offer contact lenses now. Which means that these are dailies. They're called Scout by Warby Parker. Scout is a comfortable, breathable, and affordable daily contact lens. A 90-day pack is only $55. That's not too bad at all. You can try Warby Parker's free home try-on program when you order 5 pairs of glasses to try at home for free for 5 days. No obligation to buy. It ships free and includes a prepaid return shipping label, so no work involved there. You can try 5 pairs of glasses at home for free if you go to warbyparker.com/dudesoup. Check out my eyes. These are Warby Parker eyes. And we're coming back to the show. Thank you, Warby Parker, for giving me eyeglasses and contact lenses and making sure I see. That's been a sensitive spot for me throughout COVID-19, throughout this quarantine. So I want to make sure that, because James, he always says that his thing with the apocalypse is that if something did happen where the world kind of like disintegrated, shut down, and he couldn't get contact lenses or eyewear, that's when he would be like, I'm out. And since then, he's like burned it in my brain, like, oh, I need to be able to make sure I can always have visibility. So
that was something he brought up that I had never thought about. And I'm not sure I've never seen it in like an apocalyptic type media, or that's like a plot point or something. So
yeah, like Harry Potter might break his glasses, on the first day of school, but they have wizard magic.
If only they had a spell that could fix it. And everything else.
I guess Lord of the Flies, Piggy's glasses.
Are they remaking that?
Are they?
I think they're doing another Lord of the Flies.
Is it just like all the kids?
It's a female version of Lord of the Flies. I remember reading.
Oh, Lord of the Flows. They're all sinking up on that island. Jesus, I wouldn't want to trust. Okay, since I've been one, I can say this. I wouldn't want to be a 13-year-old girl on an island with a bunch of other 13-year-old girls that are all getting their periods for the first time. Yeah. I think you guys can agree with me.
It's a full moon tonight.
You can both agree. I think you can both audibly agree, say it. I think you can say the words and agree with me that you.
What's the next topic?
When's Green Knight coming out? I want to see that movie.
Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, or I guess they're just calling it Green Knight, right?
It's just Green Knight. Yeah.
Is that an adaptation of something?
I thought it was like that the really
oldest story of all time or whatever.
Yeah.
The Epic of Gilgamesh.
Close, yes.
It's an authorless, unknown author.
It's 14th century.
Yeah, it's Western, John. Western
wags his finger like some kind of ancient story hipster.
One like quick final story that I picked up on May 5th, Twitter support posted, "When things get heated, you may say things you don't mean. To let you rethink a reply, we're running a limited experiment on iOS with a prompt that gives you the option to revise your reply before you publish it if it uses language that could be harmful."
Oh.
Now, Twitter already has a hateful conduct policy in place that's supposed to prohibit individuals, using slurs or content that dehumanizes or degrades or harms others, categories of people or individuals, or that tries to dehumanize people based on religion, age, disability, etc. The weird thing about this is it's still not an edit function on Twitter. It's just you'll have like a little prompt pop up that says, "Are you sure you want to call someone a cunt?" or like whatever. And it'll also be interesting to see like what Twitter identifies as like how good that bot is at.
It should just put you in a closed system. So like it should allow you to post it, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's like Creed when they gave him his blog and it was just a Word. It was just a Word
It's
document.
a text document.
Yeah. So like it sends it and it's like you say your thing and it gets thousands of retweets and all this stuff. But then the next day go. So like when you're drunk and angry or whatever, when you sent that stuff, it just sort of puts you in a black box. Yeah. But then the next morning,
there's a game that did that where if you were like cheating or being an asshole or whatever, it would just put you in a server with all the cheating assholes.
Oh yeah,
but it wouldn't tell you.
Something recently, wasn't it like COD or Apex Legends, like something
they've
newer?
done it. They've done it with fighting games as well. But yeah, it's like if you're gonna pee in the sandbox, we're just gonna put you in the piss covered sandbox with everyone else.
Yeah.
So go play in there.
Yeah, I still think it's a little lame.
Well, I mean, is this going to have you cut down on your racial hatred or like, is it going to increase it? What do you think?
Agree that you wouldn't want to be on that island. Say it. Say it with the women, with the girls.
I want to be the dead pilot. I just
prepubescent girl.
Or I wanted to just drop a rock on my head.
The pilot symbolizes Christ. Or wait, no, is Piggy Christ? I don't remember. Isn't the pilot Christ? Because he's like, his arms are outstretched or whatever.
The pilot wasn't in the book. The pilot was just in the movie. And he's like, don't worry, boys. They're coming. And then they're like, pilot's dead. What do we do? I'm like, maybe we kill the fat kid. Or was
the pilot symbolic of the loss of innocence? I don't know.
Ask that hack author. Who is it? J.D. Salinger?
Is it Joseph Conrad?
Some guy you've never heard of.
No. Who wrote Lord of the Flies? Hang on.
Cormac McCarthy.
Elise, for clarification.
It
was William Goldman.
William
I knew
Golding.
that. I just wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah. I was like, no way. It's William Goldman.
Elise, for clarification, this Twitter thing they're doing isn't going to censor it to the people that the hateful messages are being sent to. It's just going to like ask the people sending the dehumanizing, degrading messages if they're sure that they want to send them, because I'm fairly certain if they're writing them.
Yeah, it's just
like, maybe I should rethink my life.
Yes, it should. I wish that it was like, I wish it was sassy. I wish it was like, sugar, you want to rethink that statement? Like something like that,
It should be if you post something like that, it just sends you to like a page for like getting like anger management or something.
Yeah. It sucks. It's like we can't have nice things in any regard.
I think it's just an example of how kind of Twitter for a long time doesn't really, I mean, not that they don't know what to do, but they maybe don't have much recourse to like prevent this, like everyone just shitting on each other on their platform. And I mean, that's something that in a number of social media, they've done studies that like the more people scroll social media, the more extreme their views get, the more biased they get, the more entrenched they get into their own views, the less open-minded they are. It's kind of just a universal product of social media that people become kind of shittier. It's like, it's a bummer because, we all use social media and there's a lot of great stuff on it, but, it also seems to have some negative effects on people's mental well-being.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Do you agree with me?
About the previous thing you said, maybe.
The thing you said about the thing?
Hey, real quick. I'm doing this real quick for Omar. The clap thing or whatever. The stream went down. So Nicholas is asking me if we were recording. Was anyone recording?
I'm recording.
I'm recording my individual camera and my audio.
Same.
John, are you?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Excellent. Okay. Whew.
Oh, I didn't see. Where is he asking that in Discord?
He asked me. He says we're back. Okay. Whew. Well, good. I'm glad we were all.
Man, I was so poignant just then.
You were on top of it.
I mean, it'll still be in the show, in the final show. You were. You were absolutely right.
No. Yeah, we didn't lose it. I'm just saying. I think because, I just think he was asking me if something. He was asking if we're recording.
Pretend that it never happened.
So Lord of the Flies. Tell me more about this. What is this, a book?
Well, it's been about 16 years. No, more since I've read it. 8,
Yeah.
19.
Okay.
I lied about reading it in 9th grade.
I was 14,
Oh.
yeah, so
We
20 years.
we had to read it in high school, and then
No.
as a special gift, we got to watch the Simpsons episode that it was based on. So that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my familiarity with it. Tastes like burning.
Go banana. Same episode, I think.
Yeah.
Go, banana. Go.
I was actually watching Simpsons recently. I've been going back. I'm starting to see. I basically looked up when Conan was a writer on The Simpsons, and it started with season 4, I think. I started at season 4, and I'm kind of watching spotted throughout there, kind of remembering episodes that I do remember and rewatching them. In episode 1 of season 4, Ralph is introduced, but he's not the character that he is at all. He's just kind of, he's not even like as round as he is. He's just kind of just this little kid. I don't even know if he's Ralph Wiggum at that point.
Might have just been kid. Yeah. I don't remember.
Well, I mean, they refer to him as Ralph, and he has the same like string hair, but apart from that, it's like, it's
least,
interesting to think that like even in season 4, they were still kind of fleshing out these characters that, from my perspective, were like iconic staples of the show.
And they were able to do that,
Yeah.
which like you really couldn't do now.
Yeah, which is crazy because they just renewed Bob's Burgers for like season 11 or 10 or whatever it is. And it's like, it feels like that show's only been on for 4 years. It's weird. I don't know. It's odd to think that that's been on for a decade, but here we are. Yeah.
Here we are.
Elise, you sent Jess and I that clip of Hank Azaria talking to Conan, and like that, if I could have a dream podcast, it would just be Conan talking about The Simpsons and talking with people who he worked with every week, of just like, what was that like during that time, and just every story.
Yeah, I listen to Conan's podcast religiously every week, and I listen to his at-homes, and I go back and I re-listen to them, and whenever he talks about Simpsons or SNL, it's like,
It's the best.
yeah.
Yeah.
That like, I know you guys were telling me about this podcast for so long, and I finally just binged a bunch of it. And yeah, like that was something I realized was like, oh snap, he was a writer on SNL, and most of the people, or a lot of his guests, were either writers or, on camera, like cast members of SNL, and that's basically all they talk about during the episode. And it's like, I didn't realize the insight that we were getting with Conan's podcast until I listened to it.
He just did episodes with Kevin Nealon and then Mike Myers. And,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's just like, it's great. And like him and Kevin Nealon, it was just Kevin Nealon like being aggro to Conan the whole time. And those are my favorite, when it's like someone that he's clearly like known for years and years. And Mike Myers is like, it's really, really sweet listening to them talk about SNL, because they talk about it with like such great reverence, that it was such a catapulting platform for them in their careers. And like, they look back at it as like, the one of the pivotal times of their lives. But then they also talk about it with just great trauma, because like it's such a, like when you're in it, such a grinding experience.
I love the story of Larry David. Have you heard that?
Yeah,
No.
where it's what George was based on, the episode of Seinfeld where he quits and then he comes back the next day and pretends like he didn't quit.
Yeah.
Is that what you're referring to?
Right.
There was that, but then in that same story, he talks about how like, he came in the morning on like his first day, or it was the day before they do all the pitches, because basically it's known that the writers, I think they do all the pitches Wednesday morning maybe.
Night.
And on Tuesday night, everyone stays up all night working on everything. And then on Wednesday morning, they pitch it. And like Tuesday at like 6 or 7 or whatever, Larry's like packing up to leave. And he's like, he goes to leave, and what is his name? Lauren Michaels. Yeah, Lauren Michaels is like, oh, so you're leaving. He's like, that's not really how we do it here. Yeah, and Larry was like, well, I've worked a full day of work, so I'm just going to go home.
Well, everyone's terrified of Lorne Michaels. That's where Dr. Evil came from, right?
Dr. Evil?
I think Dr. Evil is based on Lorne Michaels.
Oh.
I think I saw a Howard Stern show clip where, you know, he's always trying to create drama. He's like, so how did you feel, Dana Carvey, when Mike Myers like bit your Lorne Michaels impersonation? And Dana was basically just like, you know, I was maybe the first one to do it like on camera, but everyone kind of had their own Lorne Michaels impersonation. And yeah, maybe he did bite mine a little bit, but yeah. He was Dana was very political and, you know, didn't buy into the shit that was Howard Stern was trying to get him to throw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, growing up, I had 2 books. It was like the first 20 years of SNL, and then it was The Simpsons, like seasons 1 through 8 encyclopedia. And that was like, you know, this is pre-internet stuff. So it's like all I did was read about the history of SNL and read every tidbit that the Simpsons creators were willing to give me.
Yeah, I feel like those are 2 things I've read a lot about too.
I mean, you didn't know this, but Robert Downey Jr. was on 1 season of SNL, like half a season as a cast member.
Really?
Did you say we didn't know this?
I don't think most people know that.
Oh, yeah. I knew that because
I know you did. Yeah.
That.
Oh, okay.
Of course, you know everything. You psychopath.
No, I love SNL.
Keenan passed Daryl Hannah, and he's now the longest running cast member.
Hammond?
Daryl Hammond.
Yeah.
Who am I thinking of? He was the like animal guy, wasn't he?
He did a Bill Clinton for a while, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a doc on him on Netflix, but I was never a huge fan of his. Like, I respect him, but he was never my like go-to.
Yeah, it was like him and Colin Quinn were like, I could see how someone likes these people, but they're not for me.
I
liked Colin Quinn's talk show.
Oh yeah, what was it called?
Night at the Roxbury.
It was comedians talking about politics or something.
Oh.
Keenan's a whole other level. You can put Keenan in every sketch, and he's versatile and he saves everything. And there's always murmurings that he's going to replace Lorne Michaels someday.
Oh my god,
Keenan like running the ship, but like no one has a bad thing to say about him. And man, I think he's just like, and it's weird because I was never like a Good Burger or Keenan and Kel person. Like never really like into either of those, or I don't even know if I've seen Good Burger. I don't think so, like, or in its entirety.
It was a product of its time, and it does not age well.
But
I mean, all that was a product of its time, which is
I never saw all that
awful sketch show, but I watched every episode.
So my experience with him was really like Mighty Ducks, and or no, he's not in Mighty Ducks even. What am I thinking? Is he in any other kids' movies?
He's in Heavyweights.
Maybe is he?
Yeah.
Heavyweights on Disney Plus. I need my fixin' of 90s exploitation of overweight children. And
I think it was
I
on
love
Netflix.
Heavyweights. It's one of my favorites.
Ben Stiller is the hero of that movie, but they treat him as the villain.
Oh, you know what I watched last night that like I think you both would really like is if you haven't seen it already, the Meyerowitz stories on Netflix.
Wait,
the Adam Sandler.
Yeah, that's the dialogue's all like super realistic, right? Where they're like, they talk on top of each other and stuff.
Yeah, it's like about a family in New York City.
I've enjoyed all of Noah Baumbach's movies that I've seen, but I think the last one I saw was the one
with Ben
Stiller. Like it was something like Mr. Green Boy or something.
Oh, it was Greenberg.
Yeah,
right?
something like that.
Yeah,
that was the last one I saw, like
You're thinking of
a
Good
decade
Burger.
ago.
You're thinking of Greenberger, yeah.
But Noah and the Whale.
I would, to me it felt like Royal Tenenbaums light, or like maybe Royal Tenenbaums more grounded in the real world than a sort of like whimsical world. But I like we didn't finish it, but I was like, oh wow, I wait. I wish I hadn't slept on this for so long.
Yeah,
we just finished Dave last night.
Oh yeah,
man,
I watched the first 3 episodes.
Amazing. That is,
it's amazing.
Yeah, FX is like killing it in terms of those shows that just like grip you, like Atlanta and now Dave. But holy crap, I knew of Little Dicky and like kind of followed his stuff, but like that season was a ride. Highly recommend. It's super easy to watch.
I avoided it because Lil Dicky has collaborated with Chris Brown only recently, even though he's proven to be a very garbage person. So I kind of held that against Lil Dicky. I kind of held that against Lil Dicky, but I will watch Dave.
Yeah.
It's a strangely meta show. I saw a car drive by my window. So weird.
We got to wrap this up because I think we have like a meeting after this or something.
I just got a pop up and I gotta go spray my meat. So
Adam's spraying his meat every hour.
Spray my meat right now.
But I just want to close it out with a couple things. May 25th through 31st. Tune in, Kind of Funny and Funhaus. Follow us both because we're doing Kind of Funhaus week. There's gonna be lots of cool content coming out of both channels as we do this crossover. I'm excited for it. We've already started pre-recording some of that stuff. A lot of it's going to be live, but I think it's going to be really, really fun. Also, this weekend on the channel, we've got great videos, one of which is the 20-second showdown game show.
It's great.
That's everyone in this podcast is in it, and then some. And it's a game show.
Is it a game show that devolved into chaos kind of unintentionally?
I mean, alcohol's involved, but I think that's only part of the problem.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yes, well, we don't have any more, but it is.
But yeah, there was too much drinking.
I've been pulling thumbnails for that and watching you slowly devolve through the episode of you're the host, and then when Drunk Elise is one of my favorite people in the world, when just all laughs and just all laughs and spite. It's so perfect.
I want a t-shirt that says laughs and spite.
Oh man. Because you become the sharpest tool in the knife drawer when you have a couple drinks in you. Cause it's I feel like you're just always holding back. You're like Superman. You're just I know I could destroy you if I wanted to, but I have to hold back. And once you start drinking, you become so vicious.
I would never say anything mean to people that I didn't like. Sorry,
I know. I never take offense to it, even though
and I didn't think I was particular. I didn't think I was mean in 20-second showdown. You're fine. It's just visually watching you, just all the faces and all the laughing and I'm excited for people to see that episode. It was wild, and I had a really fun time doing it. Same. Also, I've been meaning to do this for a few weeks, and I keep forgetting, but want to give a shout out to a new podcast that's coming from Rooster Teeth. It's called I Have Notes, and it's coming from our animation department, who we've worked with on projects like Sex Wing the Animated Series. We've worked with them on the Red versus Blue episodes we've done, and a ton of other stuff tangentially. We love so many people that are involved with this podcast, so we just want to mention it because we like them and we think that they're really talented and interesting. But it's a bunch of these people who have worked professionally in the animation industry, and they're discussing just all things animation, entertainment, and their creative process. And I'm sure that's going to be pretty funny and entertaining too. It releases on Thursdays for first members, and then on Friday on YouTube, and then other audio networks in between there. That sounds very interesting. Yeah, I Have Notes, and we like everyone involved. So if you're looking for something else to fill your time right now, check it out. And Adam and John, thank you so much for a really fun dude soup. For sure. I've eaten way too many berries over the past hour. Yeah, they're starting to ferment. Yeah, I was just gonna say they're going raw, or they're turning to rancid in his stomach. Thank you for hosting, Elise. You did a fantastic job. I had a wonderful time. Thank you. I love catching up with you guys. Same. And tune in live every day. I don't know who's on after this. It's Keeping the Lights On. Is it Keeping the Lights On? That's what it says on the website that I'm looking at. It says live in 5 minutes. Hurry up, mofos. Why would it say that? Are you kidding me? That's a big, oh man, that's a big show to open for. Whew. It's better when you don't know what you're doing. Yeah, stick around. Say hi to Jack and Jeff for me. Yeah. Do it yourself. Stay in chat. Oh, we gotta go to the meeting. Yeah, we got a meeting. Jack and Jeff. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for watching. And thank you, Nick.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Nick.
A real North Pacific American Gentile man.